hot topics, Sharina Hudson. Getting out of my car with my money. It's not your choice, it's in the cloud, and I've looked several times. So I guess I'm disgusting for looking.
One of the most common reasons for marriage to fall apart is, of course, another woman. That is no different from Wendy Williams' case. While we often find ourselves mad on issues like this, but let us see if this mess between Wendy, Kevin, and her mistress, Sharina, would take our anger to the next level. This affair has been juicy from the very start, and I'm sure that many are following what would happen next about this. I mean, Kevin and Sharina are still not satisfied with all that they made Wendy to go through, and they are still out here filing a case to continuously extort money from the woman. I guess these two are no longer afraid of the things that people would throw at them, especially on social media, as long as they are living off of Wendy's wealth.
Really? Really? And our son's in Miami. So I have to be calm on the phone with him, you know, like a loving mother. I have to be happy on the TV every morning live from New York.
The act that Kevin and Sharina have been pulling off for years now is the complete definition of shameless. Well, obviously, Wendy had had enough and is no longer willing to give them even a penny. As she should. Also, she is never afraid or never subtle in giving hints that Sharina is the primary reason for their falling out. She has talked about it multiple times in her interviews, and she's always dropping names. Yes, girl, call them out. Fans of Wendy have been vocal about their perception of Kevin even in the first few years of their marriage. Apparently, most of them are correct, especially those that say that Kevin is only after Wendy's money.
She was one of these, less than smart women who moved to the big city with bright lights, and she wanted to be a model. And so you know how the girls with the sparkler champagne bottles at the club, they get people to spend more money, they dress scantily clad and things like that.
What is more outrageous with their situation is that Wendy knew all along about Kevin cheating on her. She knew it, but she did not make a big deal out of it. She tolerated it, yes, not until Kevin got Sharina pregnant. According to Wendy, a baby is a whole different conversation compared to the affair. Wendy even talked about this several times about how she knew about Sharina since the beginning. Girl was even aware that the two were spending her money. Also, Wendy had disclosed that Sharina was not the first girl that Kevin had cheated with. The audacity of this man is seriously getting on our nerves. Although Sharina was not the first girl that Kevin had an affair with, what they had is obviously something more serious, as theirs is the longest, and up until now, Kevin had a new family with her. What could possibly be going on in Wendy's mind knowing all about his ex-husband's dirt even when they were still together? It would take a whole lot of patience to be able to deal with that. As if cheating was enough, Kevin made the situation worse by spoiling Sharina with material things using Wendy's money. Okay, so even though Kevin was not really keeping his affair on the down low, Wendy still used a private investigator to unfold the truth about Sharina being pregnant. I bet that that's the last stick for Wendy to end their marriage that lasted for decades. I bet that even though we often hear about these types of situations, it still does not cease to amaze us how ugly and disgusting infidelity is. In one of her interviews, Wendy did not hold back and openly discussed what they discovered made her feel. She said, "She made herself very available to him. She was very disrespectful to me." For sure, disrespectful is not even enough to describe what they did to her. They did her dirty. Wendy even acknowledges that Sharina is not smart. Well, smart women do not get involved with married men, that's for sure. Anyway, if you're a fan of Wendy Williams and wants to be updated about what is going on with her life, then make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Going back to the topic, some of you who are not always updated with this hot mess might think that Kevin and Sharina must have taken so much money from Wendy to start out their life. We hope that was the case, but no. Kevin even invested in Sharina's business using Wendy's money when they were still married. But most of her businesses seem to fail as they're still trying to rely on Wendy's money to support their little family. But luckily, Wendy found a way out to stop giving Kevin severance pay. Let us talk a little bit more about Sharina's failed attempts to have a business. Well, Kevin even supported her and put her through school to be a massage therapist. Obviously, it did not work out. So Kevin was again to the rescue and opened up a kiosk for her at the mall in North Carolina where she is from. Again, this idea did not boom. They're relentless though, let's give them that. Because Kevin helped her once again to set up an online jewelry and clothing line which they named Vish. All of that did not give them the success or even the attention that they were hoping for. Some would call it karma, or it is possible that they just don't know how to run these things. That is why they kept on failing. That must also be the reason why they just resorted to extorting money from Wendy, because that would be much easier for them. By the way, I would never forget to mention that when Kevin was still with Wendy, he also bought Sharina a house using Wendy's money once again. To think that this house that he bought was only a few miles away from the house where he and Wendy lived together is a completely bold move. Okay. So Sharina must have moved on from her failed businesses, so she decided to give it another shot in 2021 when she started a vegan company. Where else would she get her money if both her and Kevin do not have a decent job? Of course, it is Wendy's money. So if Kevin and Sharina have been in a serious relationship for years already, even when Kevin was still married, why did he not leave Wendy earlier? I bet you can already guess the answer at this point. Certainly, it is because of Wendy's money. Kevin would not be able to spoil Sharina anymore if he would divorce Wendy. And if you think that Sharina must have been ashamed because of their affair and everything they did to Wendy was revealed publicly, then you're wrong. Both Kevin and Sharina don't know that word. She even had the confidence to throw Wendy some shade. She must really love and enjoy the attention no matter how bad the news about her is. Until now, many of us are still waiting for that Wendy Williams podcast because we sure are gonna get tons of teas in her podcast. As most of you already know, she is still recovering, so that must be the reason why the podcast is not rolling yet. Even though everyone was aware of Wendy's situation and how she's not physically and mentally healthy as of the moment, Kevin is still trying to force her to give him alimony even though Wendy had the option to stop and modify the severance pay based on their agreement. If you can remember, Wendy has been battling with Graves' disease for a few years now, and in September of 2022, she was put in a rehab because of her substance abuse issue. She had also talked about this before. She also became very dependent on alcohol during the time when she was suffering because of their separation and divorce. You see, even though she was not in her healthiest state before the news about Sharina being pregnant broke out, their affair surely made Wendy's situation worse. They even had the insolence to rely on Wendy's money, and Kevin is not being subtle about it. He talked about the possibility of their house being foreclosed because he can no longer pay for it since Wendy is not giving him alimony anymore. I guess find a job then, right? What kind of a person would even use his ex-wife's money to support his new family? Kevin was immediately fired from his job as a producer in the Wendy Williams show when Wendy decided to divorce him. After that, Kevin was just never giving up on extorting money from Wendy instead of using his time to find another job. For context, Wendy is supposed to pay Kevin alimony as stated in their marital settlement agreement. They also agreed though that Wendy can seize and modify the amount that she can pay to Kevin. Since Wendy had been sick and hospitalized, she missed filming for a show that later on led to the cancellation of the show. That being said, she's no longer getting compensation from the show, and according to her attorney, she does not have any TV show right now that is paying her the same income. This gives her the chance to stop giving Kevin even a single dime. On the other hand, Kevin must have conveniently forgotten about the part of their agreement because he filed a case against Wendy for putting a stop to his alimony. He cannot really be a bit considerate knowing that Wendy is still not well right now. He even hired a new legal team recently. If you want to know how Wendy reacted to that, then go ahead and watch the other video on his channel where I talked about it. He's out here complaining that he's broke, but he still have a chance to hire a high-value attorney? He's not making sense and is obviously not thinking through his decisions. Wendy is also aware that their little family is dependent on the alimony that she pays Kevin every month. She even said that her alimony to them was on time every month. Let us not also forget about the fact that Wendy's bank is currently not giving her access to her money.
Please let me have access to my money. This is not right. And again, this is not fair. Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. This is not right. And you know this is not fair.
Well, it's because the bank believes that she is not in the best state to make financial decisions. Thinking about everything that Wendy went through because of Sharina and Kevin is just so infuriating, especially to her fans. Even though Wendy is still recovering and is not yet able to have the best life considering her condition, the situation and the things that are happening to Sharina and Kevin seems to be playing out in her favor. If seeing the pair almost begging for Wendy's money is already satisfying for us, then how much more would it be for Wendy? For sure, she's thinking about how pathetic they are. I guess karma would always find its way towards people that deserve it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out these videos.